much. Great evening on the turnbuckle bandwagon. I'm kind of tired. I was out late last night. We'll explain why in a moment. Uh, with me is my co-host, my Twitter road dog, the gift queen of indie wrestling Twitter, uh, Tiffany Merryhill. Tiffany, what's up?
Hey, everybody. I am good. I'm very tired too. I think we all are. We've got a big week ahead next week.
Yes.
So it's like almost like Christmas. Nobody's getting sleepy, even though we need to sleep. So
we are here to talk about the return full bore of Beyond Wrestling last night on IWTV. But before we do that, a little bit of business, a little bit of news. Today on social media, Faye Jackson announced her retirement. She'll be
yeah,
doing her Tampa shows. She's got the Great Sweatpants Battle Royal, Alley Cat's Real Hot Girl Shit, and this will be it. She'll be walking away from wrestling.
that was hard to hear. Really
Yeah.
hard to hear. And it's still kind of hard to say out loud because I didn't get to see Sunday what exactly happened.
I know it was an elbow injury. Same here.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the show, and I, looked at social media after I got back home on the road, from being on the road, and I was like, oh, okay, well, hopefully it's nothing too bad. And it turned out that, as the day went by, or as it went into Monday, it looked like it was something really serious. But this today, that was a bombshell, and I was just, for somebody who's so influential in independent wrestling, to make this kind of announcement and to have this kind of news on the eve of having this huge weekend. That's heartbreaking. And it really is.
Yeah, Faye's done so much. I mean, being a woman in wrestling is hard. Being a Black woman in this industry is doubly so. I can only imagine,
Yeah.
the stuff she's had to go through. She's
Yeah.
talked about interviews, dealing with the stuff at Ring of Honor and how she kind of had to rebuild from there.
Right.
And folks, if you can watch the show and donate, half the proceeds of this are going to Planned Parenthood, going to a good cause. This show didn't happen last year. It's happening this year. Donate if you can, RT if you can't, but spread the word. This show is worth supporting if you don't watch any other show this coming weekend in Tampa.
Absolutely.
Faye, love you. Appreciate you.
Love you
The
a
Creep
lot.
Squad. We will we would do our best to carry on in your stead as best we can.
Yep.
But the reason we're all here last night to not, there's been the Signature Series and we've had events in modified ways.
Mm-hmm.
But, and we appreciate that, from the Signature Series to Limitless Wrestling's The Road to Camp Leapfrog. All these promotions have been trying to keep us wrestling, and that's great.
Uh-huh.
But last night, for the first time in over a year and a half, Beyond Wrestling is back.
And they didn't miss a beat. They did not miss a beat. And I'm going to tell you this, Matt. The Signature Series was a great lead-in to last night, to Fool's Paradise, because you had several weeks of just kind of getting reintroduced. I mean, it's not the White Eagle, of course, but getting reintroduced to Beyond Wrestling weekly. And then you have the coup de grace last night. That was just, to me, the proof that Beyond is okay. They're going to be fine post-pandemic.
Yeah, I think with post-pandemic, some promotions shutting down or not knowing when they're going to be back, but also beyond the roster there is seeing some turnover. A number of folks have moved on, either have retired or signed. Yeah, I mean, that whole roster has kind of been turned over, not all the way, but a good chunk. The upper chunk of that, or a chunk of that roster, is now gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's strange to think, you have so many that have, in my opinion, just taken a step up. I mean, and it's funny, I started watching Beyond in 2019. It's really only been 2 years, even though last year felt like it took forever. Yeah. But within the past 2 years, you've had this much turnover, and meaning this much growth, in rosters for both AEW and WWE for NXT. So it's like, well, what's Beyond gonna have left? And they proved they've got a lot of gas left in the tank last night.
They do. I was back at the White Eagle. It was my first time back there yet in a year and change. I went I think one of the last episodes of Uncharted Territory season 2, which was late 2019, early 2020.
Mhm.
I hadn't been in that building since then. The White Eagle is, in terms of venue, it's someone said on Twitter, it's very comfortable. It's got the wood paneling, the valance
Yeah.
curtains.
I love that they said that. That's a perfect word for it. Is comfortable. Really,
It
just
is.
very home-like atmosphere. And then you got wrestling. I mean, just like top choice, wrestling going on. And it just brings the whole thing together so nicely to be there at the White Eagle.
I've always felt people say like, "Oh, it's home. It feels this." How I felt about it, and I was thinking about it last week, was like, Beyond is very much like when you're in your early 20s, post college. You know that person that has like a house party every weekend or every other weekend. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know who owns the house. You just know there's a banging party there every regularly.
You know the address.
You know the address.
That's a great comparison.
That's how I feel about it. It's the party's banging every time you go. You're not even sure if people live there. You just know where the house is.
You just know it's a house and things happen and you want to be a part of it.
Exactly. That's how it is.
And I that's how I feel. Somebody who has not been to the White Eagle, you get to speak to somebody who gets to see that you see it before and you see it now. I'm like, I have got to get up there. It's like a bucket list thing. I know that this summer, definitely after last night, I've got to make that trip because it's just way too alive of an atmosphere to miss out on.
It is. It is. It was a great show. It was safe. Temperatures taken at the door. People, socially distanced appropriately. Everyone had their mask on. No one had to be asked to put their mask back on. Even at the bar, people were cool. It was DC and the crew up there ran things, ran a tight ship. Shout out to Rachel. She was taking people's temperatures, making sure people were cool.
Yeah, DC ain't gonna let anything
No.
anything past him. So that's I kind of feel like that was a pretty good because the shows that were ran last summer, same thing. DC did. He, like you said, he ran a tight ship. Yep. And he was out there cracking that whip when he needed to. So everybody fell in line.
Yep, and he didn't need to, but and that's the great stuff. Let's get to the show. We all love Rich Palladino. Rich was just getting chance before they even went on the air. Just keeping everybody involved. And who's the first person to walk out when the show?
God, Cam. Well, what a way. We're just all excited. Everybody's happy to be there. Everybody's feeling all good. Then bam, Cam. And the first thing I said was, I know he hadn't washed that jacket since season 2.
I was sitting right near the curtain. You can see me. I'm kind of the big tall idiot with my Mets hat on and my Beyonce.
I saw you.
He walks out. He walks out. It just smells like low self-esteem and high karate.
You can't stand too close to Cam and not have a very good description of what being near Cam Zagami is like.
Oh God, it says I needed 4 showers, maybe 5.
That was one way to start the show. I'll say
that. And Cam was then shut up by probably the breakout star of the end of Uncharted Territory. We saw him at Signature Series. I don't want to say his name too loud because I don't want to aggravate him, but Slade.
Yeah, you better speak softly around this gentleman.
Hi, Slade. I'm sorry, but just hear that.
Slade is, I think, gonna be somebody that we are going to, at the end of 2021, say this was his time, this was his year, he took it and he ran with it. I feel like by the end of this year, we're gonna see Slade at some places that we didn't expect a year or 2 ago.
Yeah. If he's traveling, I'm pretty sure there are some places down in your neck of the woods that he would fit in very nicely.
Oh, yes. If we ever get some cross promotion between Beyond Wrestling and New South, imagine Slade down in New South up against somebody like Derek Neal.
Oh, geez. Down for that.
Yeah.
And I'll just a cacophony of stuff. And you got, now this is what happened. Shook Crew runs out. And I'm a fan of all the Shook Crew. Max was the first guest on our show. He was the first official guest that I had right when he had appeared in AEW. But quarantine has worked out for Bryce and Max and Bobby, especially Bobby Orlando. Bobby is in shape.
Bobby he just took I guess he took the lead from Bobby Jr. And I've been hoping he would. I've been always on him. Why can't you be more like Bobby Jr.? I think it was his motivation, Bobby Jr.'s, of course, that got Bobby Orlando in the shape that he's in today, because he is in amazing shape.
Yeah. And not that he wasn't before. Having seen Bobby wrestle, at various places between Beyond Wrestling, Northeast Wrestling, he's always been a solid wrestler. Like, the guy can go. I always tell people he's got an engine. But he took the COVID time to hit the gym and maybe change up the diet, trim the beard up, but he looks like solid now.
He really does. And I'm impressed. After last night, I think, Bobby is another one that's going to make this year. By the end of this year, he's going to be one of those and beyond. Like, wow. Yeah, he's come up.
Yep. We have Bear Crunchy run out. I honestly didn't expect to see them or Max. So I was super excited on that.
That was a good surprise.
Yeah, that was good. It's like you get Cam, but then you get like all this other stuff, once we're done with Cam.
Yes. That was quick. That was nice. Yeah.
First official match, which I felt was fitting. Richard Holiday versus Chris Dickinson. I mean, it's Chris Dickinson's house as far as is concerned.
It was like a housewarming party to have him out first and going up against the most marketable one, who I have a lot of respect for. I really do have a lot of respect for Richard Holiday. So that was nice to see those two kind of just bless the ring, so to speak, and kind of warm things back up. That was the kind of match I wanted to see. And that one was good. Yeah. I was glad, of course, that Dickinson won the whole thing. But Holiday, I can never say enough bad about him, but at the same time, I can never think enough good about him.
Yeah, when we've said on the show before, Richard Holiday, and I kind of am a fan. He's a Connecticut guy. He's from here. He is a professional wrestler. Everything about him screams professional wrestler when you see him.
Yeah.
He's inked a long-term deal with MLW, but he's also still doing independent shows, and he's still going to be at Beyond, I guess, when his schedule allows. That was a great first official match for Beyond. And for Dickinson to speak the way he spoke after the match, and I think
that was very emotional, and I was glad that he did that. He put that realness out there, and Dirty Daddy's known for that. That was beautiful.
Yeah, he spoke. He said, we got old faces, we got new faces. That was kind of my favorite thing of last night, and we'll get into it as we hit these matches. We had a bunch of debuts, someone we haven't seen in a bit. Independent wrestling by its nature is about who's the next guy. Down in your neck of the woods, I mean, to me, it's Nolan Edward.
Oh yes, yeah. And imagine when he makes his Beyond debut. That's gonna be, if I'm not there at the White Eagle, you're gonna have to look for me, because something happened. I'm gonna be there for that show.
Yeah, I think he will appear at Beyond sooner rather than later. Just a matter of COVID and logistics and travel. I'm just wondering, who would he face first? Would he face Dickinson? Because that's usually how it goes. Somebody new comes in, that's who you face.
Yeah, that's the gatekeeper for Beyond. And that would be one hell of a match that, I'd have to be there live for that. There's no denying that.
These matches are in no particular order. Just I kind of noted everything down. One of the women's matches, debut returning Masha Slamovich, who spent most of COVID in Japan training, teaching Japanese wrestlers how to swear. If you follow her on social media.
She's good at that.
She's good at that, but she also, she definitely,
she's amazing in the ring.
The debuting Erica Lee, who we know from Ken Leaford, who appeared on this show multiple times, friend of the show.
Erica.
That was a solid match for both of them.
Very good. And that to me is how you should come in to a promotion, just like Erica Lee did.
Print hair, neon green, and just excited to be there.
Just ripped up and fired up and ready to go. And then she went in there. She did her damn best. But you got Masha in there, and Masha ain't no joke.
No,
never has been.
Masha don't play it.
That's a hell of a person to have your debut against. So to come out fired up like that against somebody as formidable as her, that lets you know that Erica, she's the real deal.
And Erica's, she's a solid competitor. She's got an athletic background. She's got that seatbelt suplex. She throws a heck of a spear.
Her spear is
yeah.
of the stuff of gods.
It looks better than some of the guys who do it.
It really does. That spear is on a very like Goldberg 90s level. That's to me.
It is like to me like the number one standard spear is Rhino because he hit it so hard and so fast.
True.
And I'm not saying she's at that level, but her spear looks like I've seen other guys who've been wrestling a decade and it doesn't look that good.
But yeah, hers is, well, to me, as far as like, you know, crowd impact, she gets that 90s pop. Well, she's a 90s pop. So it fits. But yeah, that's how I feel whenever she hits that spear. I'm just like, whenever I was watching Nitro back in the day, hell yeah. Erica's good at that.
One of my favorite moments is when Erica shouts something in Russian at Masha and then yells she learned it watching Sex in the City.
It's the little things.
It is. And Erica's good at that. You know, especially when you're new, and she's just in the first year or two. I think this is year 2 of her career.
But then sometimes, Matt, you have people that are just kind of almost a natural. I hate to always use the term as a natural at this, but then you have some people that really are just innately good at their character or character work or, you know, or in-ring work. And Erica, I think, is, you know, kind of in both. She's good at character work and in-ring work.
And yeah, I mean, and since coming back to the US, Masha as far as I know, has not lost a match anywhere she's
in. I think you're right. Or at least I have not seen her lose one match since. Yeah.
She dropped Erica right on her head. She calls that the White Knight Driver.
Yeah, she retweeted one of my gifts and said that. I said, okay, that's the name.
Everything she does just hurts. I mean,
that was devastating. I mean, and she's so, I mean, commanding. Whenever Masha's in the ring, I mean, she's like, okay, this is her ring. You're going to have to take this ring from her if you want to, you know, get ahead, win this match. You're going to have to literally take this ring from her.
Yeah. One of the more aesthetically pleasing matches of the night, the return of Logan Easton LaRue.
Yes.
Interviewed on this show with his good hair and his jawline. Up against Robo the Punjabi Lion.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the best looking, like, you know, as far as like, if you're going to take pictures and make gifts, that was the best looking match of the night. Yeah. I'm a fan of Logan Easton LaRue now because, you know, he's been down in my neck of the woods. He's been to New South, made his debut in the Haas 2021 tournament this year and made a very impressive showing. So he's really well liked down south, and to see him go up against Robo was good.
Yeah, I mean, Logan is I mean, Robo's kind of got that natural athleticism. I mean, just look at him. I mean, the guy just put together, just solid. But Logan's just got, he's so like crisp. Like everything he does, just
fresh.
A to B to C. It's fresh. Like there's no wasted movement. Like he's always thinking ahead, and it just looks good.
Exactly. Very clean and very polished. I'd say he's the most polished. And I guess, you know, for him, you know, polished would be, you know, the standard.
Would be no other way.
No, you can't. I mean, would I say tarnished? No, polished. No, but he's a very polished wrestler. And, you know, I think he's proud of that. And you can tell, especially in that match with Robo, he's proud of his work. You know, and to have somebody in the ring like Robo that he can really, you know, put himself up against, go at his best, that's a compliment to his work.
Yeah. And one of my favorite matches of the night, and there's two I'll kind of specifically speak on. Aaron Rourke versus Willow Nightingale.
Oh, I love that. I love Aaron Rourke's entrance. Last night, just the look over the shoulder of this complete disdain. I think you were right. I think you were close when he did that. Like that's one of the best entrances going right now.
It is the Aaron Rourke we saw at the end of Uncharted Territory season 2 is not the Aaron Rourke we saw last night.
Whew. We've got this is 2021.
Yes.
New era, new age Aaron Rourke, and I'm here for it. Quite honestly, as much as I love Willow, and as glad as I am that she came in and showed up and showed out, this Aaron Rourke I like. I can rock with this.
Yeah, this is the Aaron Rourke we saw then was kind of like, you know, kind of a work in progress, maybe like something being built. The Aaron Rourke we're seeing now, it's like he was kind of a knife. Now he's just like a katana now. He's leaned out. The eye makeup was on point. The hair was looking good.
Very.
He's got this cape. I've
Oh
been
yeah.
watching him on Creator Pro TV on YouTube. He's just getting better and better and better.
That goes back to that whole character work thing I was mentioning with Erica Lee a little bit ago. Some people just have that innate quality to know what they can do to get out there and just show their best selves. Aaron Rourke is another example of that. Great character work.
He has
And
that people talk about, like, to sports cliche it up a bit. People talk about like the intangibles and like the X
mm,
factor and the it factor, and that's what
yeah,
Aaron Work has
oh yeah,
buckets of.
he really
Um,
does.
Willow was great. It was an amazing one of the to me one. I don't want to give match of the night because it was just a great night all around, but I enjoyed this match
That's
immensely.
one of my, this is, I'll say that this was definitely one of my favorite Willow Nightingale matches of just all time, not just this year, because she's
Yeah.
had a few this year that have just really been bangers. But this one, I think whenever I see Willow, because I think one of the first times I saw Willow Nightingale was in Beyond Wrestling.
Okay.
And yeah, it just stood out. And this match was just one of those that just put an exclamation mark on what I've seen so far. This is Willow Nightingale. That's who
Yeah.
she is. So I think that's who we're going to see. How like Aaron Work, we're going to see this side of Willow Nightingale going forward. I think 2021 has changed some people.
Oh yeah.
And we're seeing like the best side of people that we saw before. I mean, we were seeing great things before, but we're seeing the next level.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The other match, the other kind of debut match that I was excited because again, someone I did not expect to see. The Price City OG, Alec Price, who we've had on this
Yes.
show. You've seen him at Limitless uh against Teddy Goods. Alec Price is a talent. I think he's only like 21 or 22.
Yeah.
And he's this long, rangy. People look at him and kind of underestimate him because of his size.
Right.
He's got a loud mouth, and I'll openly admit to having a loud mouth.
I'm going to say this about Alec Price. And this to me, I've always had kind of a preference for the guys that, okay, they're not the biggest guys, but they make up for it in kind of like, their loudness or kind of like their personality. Alec Price is one of those guys. If you go back and look, 20, 30 years ago, they were saying same thing about Sean Waltman. I always take it back to that. And I'm like, look at the career that he had. He wasn't the biggest guy. He wasn't always respected as he should have been, but he carved out his own mark. And I think Alec Price, he's going to follow that same path.
Yeah, he's been doing that Limitless. He made his debut. When I heard his music, I was like, oh okay, because I know the music. I mean, he
Yeah.
just come out to some trap music. It is what it is. It's a good little tune. But he's going up against like a Teddy Goods, who's like a New England institution up here. He's
Mm.
one of these guys I've seen at like shows with like 20 people or bigger shows like Beyond. He's been around forever.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in Beyond in a bit. It's been a few years.
Yeah, I'm actually not familiar with Teddy Goods, but after last night, I'm like, okay, I need to go back and look at a few more of his matches because the guy is good.
He is. Yeah, he was trained by Spike Dudley. I forget, he's got one of the other trainers.
I saw that and I was just like, oh my God, trained by Spike. No wonder I like this guy so much.
Yeah.
My guy back from the 90s or back from 90s, early 2000s. That's my favorite wrestler.
Yeah, and yeah, Teddy's an institution up here. A lot. He's known on the circuits up here. Also, again, took COVID to get. He's in amazing shape.
Yes.
Not to say people were in bad shape before, but I think having the time
That
off
time,
to
I agree,
not
man.
wrestle, heal
Yeah.
up, and focus on your stuff was
It
good
was
for a lot of folks.
it was a big suggestion. I remember a year ago, Suge Dunkerton and a few other people, I recall specifically suggested that wrestlers, especially independent wrestlers, use that time to improve their physique. And so I think after, all of these kind of veteran wrestlers were going around on social media saying that, people took that to heart. And so that's why last night we were seeing, just really good, just very good, no ring rust. I don't think I noticed any ring rust.
Not that I saw. And Alec Price gets the win, a little on the shady side, but for someone who's like just getting started, and I've seen him at Limitless, Why he isn't in contention for the Limitless title is beyond me right now, but I think it's coming.
Mhm.
He's just, he needs, I want to see him at Beyond, but I want to see him against someone maybe a little like, maybe a little similar, like maybe put him in there against like a Pinky Sanchez,
Oh,
someone
yes.
who isn't, you know, he gets put up against guys that are bigger than him and maybe might try and overpower him. Put him in
Yeah,
there with somebody who's maybe similar to his skill set and see how he reacts.
I'd like to see that. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Put him in there against Pinky, somebody, a veteran like that, see how he does. And yeah, I think you're going to get something classic.
Yeah. I
I
just love
mean,
he
that
comes out with like this weird, like, I don't know if it's a starter jacket, and he's got like this kind of shoulder bag. He's got this whole thing he comes out with. It's just, and he's loud, and
it's a
people,
look.
it is a look. It's a
Mhm.
look. Um, and then we had one of the most entertaining matches of the night, a great tag match with the Sea Stars, Ashley
Yeah,
Vox, Delmi XO, going up against breakout star of last year, having what, 3 or 4 match of the year candidates. Edith
yeah,
Surreal, formerly
yeah.
known as still have that Apricot Pairs, but Edith Surreal is the name going forward.
Mhm.
And Solo Darling.
Yep.
Um, I didn't think I would get a chance to see Edith Surreal in person uh this year, and it happened. And
That is great.
it was, I can't even. Tiff, you talk a little bit about it because I need to collect myself.
No, that's something that I personally, I'm glad, because it was back. I went to Fight Forever in January, and I did get to see Edith Surreal then. I think this was before even we knew Edith Surreal was going to be her name going forward. And I'm just saying, to be in the presence of someone so impressive is just so it's memorable. And I know why you have to take a minute to collect yourself, because you're seeing something that has been, well, for one thing, it's taken years to get to this point
Yeah.
of the career that I think this is a career high that she's on. And it's another thing to see that live. And this was your first time seeing it live, right?
It was my first, yeah. Well, I know she was at one of the Atlantic City shows, but I didn't get to the show she wrestled in. But I had seen her. I had not seen her wrestle. But this was the first time
She,
I'd seen her wrestle live.
yeah, she is different live, because you can see, it's almost like when you have to go to a museum. You can't just look at a painting online and appreciate it. You have to go to the Met, that's almost how I have to describe it, because you notice so many things. She's crafted so much in her career over the past 2 years that I've been watching. And to see her work just in a tag team like this against, like Delmi and Ashley are so well established.
Yeah.
And to have Edith go with Solo, spur of the moment, because we saw what happened later on.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I'll
We'll get
address
to
that.
But to mesh well with Solo Darling like she did, that was perfect. That was part of that whole craft. She's crafted such a great career that she can, just work with nearly anybody. And Solo's, very talented, and have that awesome match, even without her regular partner.
And she is, again, very much like Alec Price, is very long, very lanky, but is the technical skill of someone who is still, developing as a wrestler. Like getting someone like these weird like butterfly stretches and kind of like turning them over and just like maintaining control. It's just, it's great to watch. I mean,
The way Edith manipulates her body, and being a tall person, we're both tall people.
yeah.
We know that that's not necessarily the most comfortable or the easiest way to maneuver, your body, because it's hard to control, such, a large mass, or a lengthy mass. But somehow you have people like It's Surreal and people like Alex Price who do. And if you're a tall person, it's impressive. But I mean, it's impressive in general. But you're like, I'm tall too, and I can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, it was a solid match. Again, Ashley and Dummy are an established tag team.
Very.
One of my favorite moments when Solo was being intro, because Rich does Solo's introduction great. Is Ashley getting the vapors in the corner, which I don't know if you see that on TV.
Yeah, I think, well, the camera like got a little bit of it. I was trying to gift that, but the camera didn't get the whole thing, but I thought that was very cute.
Yeah, Delmy had to kind of like calm her down and just Ashley wavered herself. It was just one of those little things that make it all
Little
entertaining.
details.
Yeah. Solid match back and forth. Solo is, I am never shy about. I've been a fan of Solo forever, since her early days at like Jakar and Shimmer and the whole Sugar Creature thing. I'm a fan. I got like 2 Solo t-shirts back here. Even that limited edition King of Trios one, I have him bouncing around in there somewhere. Solo's great, and she's gotten solid. I mean, yeah, she's great. And then your problematic faves decide to interject themselves.
I like the way you said that. Problematic faves.
Explain your boys.
Well, I guess I have to, Well, milk chocolate, they feel like, since they won tournament for tomorrow, they can just do anything they damn well please.
Seems that way.
That's what they did. They decided to target Edith Surreal and Jackson. And I can't exactly justify what was done, especially getting hit with an UGG, what looked like, I think was an UGG boot.
Yes.
That was a bit over the top. But I will say I'm going to enjoy what will be the outcome of this feud. And I'm 100% sure this is a feud now. Between,
it is. Edith was very unhappy. So we are going to be seeing at some point Milk Chocolate versus Edith Surreal. And is it Jackson's? I forget his new
Sir Jackson. I do know he is titled.
He's titled. Okay, Sir Jackson. Sorry, please don't be.
Yes, I forget the surname. The not the sir, but the surname, the last name.
So we're gonna have a match. Edith is probably gonna look to tie up both Randy Summers and Brandon Watts.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big match. Milk Chocolate's on top of the world right now, which I am happy for. But I don't know if that was the best idea to go targeting a team like that. I mean,
appearances on AEW Dark Elevation, AEW Dark this past week. I mean, things are looking up for a tag
2021. Things are looking up.
It's the year of the come up for a lot of our folks and it's great to see.
It's about time.
Yeah, especially for them. They've been a tag team for over what, close to 200 matches as a tag team.
Oh, yeah, well, they, if you watch the end of the Signature Series or the end of their match, they'll let you know it's over a decade, I believe, that they've been, just busting their asses. Yeah. And they're starting to see, I guess, the benefits now which I'm here for.
Yep. Then we had a really great technical wrestling match. Matt Mikowski, Weapon X, up against Alexander James, who I didn't know was back in the States. I know.
Yeah, that was surprising.
I know him from his work, in the UK. He's wrestled at the European scene over there, so I was familiar with him from there. I didn't know he was back here.
Yeah, that was surprising. I've only this is my first time seeing Alexander James. I've seen him, like you said, in kind of the Brit Rest scene, so to speak. And then to see him against Matt Mikowski, who is one of my favorites. And to me, I know we were talking about Slade kind of taking the helm, but I honestly believe Matt Mikowski's time as, just kind of being the beyond guy is something we're standing right at the entrance of. Yeah. So good way to bring Matt Mikowski back kind of into the White Eagle forefront, I guess. Yep. Because last time we saw him, he was, I don't think his momentum slowed any, but this was a good match to have it pick back up.
Well, yeah, Mikowski, he had that match against Dickinson at Shangri-La Mahastral last summer. Right. Where, he didn't win. Dickinson got the win there. Right. Signature Series, he racked up 2-0, gets the win over. I think he was due.
Yes.
Beats Chris Dickinson there. But in general, Mikowski's his profile's been increasing over the past 6-7 months in these different events that he's been popping up in. Even something as kind of fun as Camp Leapfrog, him and Travis Huckabee have been.
I love them. I love them together. You know, and of course I won't say that out loud because they, love themselves so much. They already love themselves enough. They don't need to hear that. But I do love them working together, just because they are so great.
Yeah, known as Salt the Earth, and I believe Travis Huckabee has said he wants to fight Alexander James for his boots.
Which yes, which I think I think Huckabee is aware of this. But I think he would rock those boots slightly
Oh,
better.
definitely. Oh, yeah,
Alexander
definitely.
James. It'd mean more to him.
And technical matches like this are always interesting because, especially in a crowd like the White Eagle, where they're used to things being a little more fast paced, to slow things down, and then as the match goes, for the people to get more into it and more into it. I think that's a great thing to be able to do.
I agree.
So to watch them, I mean, they got in there and they grappled him, but Mikowski threw out some new stuff that I hadn't seen
Yes.
before.
Yes, and this is going back to that ring work. He's a natural. I'm not afraid to say the word natural when it comes to Matt Mikowski and ring work. The way that he moves and the things, just innovation that he does in the ring, that can only be done by somebody who's naturally gifted enough to do so, and that is Weapon X. That's Matt Mikowski.
Yeah, he's just looking to continue. Again, his role. You get a win over Chris Dickinson. That's no small thing.
That's a career high.
Yeah. We're getting this new crop of folks who are coming in, and beyond, and New England wrestling in general is in a good, East Coast wrestling is in a good place because you can see all these folks. Can't Bleed Frog, you see him here at Beyond, you see him at Limitless. Some folks are making their way down to Action, to New
Yeah.
South. Hopefully as the world becomes less crap show, we already know there's an established relationship with Southern, with the folks down there. We've seen AC Mack and Matt from Action come up here.
Yeah.
I need more of that. I gotta reach out to Matt. I gotta see if I can get it.
The Action show that's scheduled for next week. That's look for that. I'm going to be at that one because Matt was kind of tantalizing me on social media all along. Finally signed Nolan Edward versus Angelus Lane.
Okay.
And it's unsanctioned. So it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that bought my ticket. That put my ass in the seat. But I mean, the rest of the card though.
Yeah.
And I will say this: the only thing that was keeping me from buying my ticket was this particular show is positioned right up against, I believe, Alley Cat's show.
Okay.
So that's hard. That's a very hard decision to make.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead for that sub Action show because I'm just telling you, Matt, right now that's gonna be the sleeper of Mania week.
Next weekend, yeah. I gotta look at the schedule and see kind of where I can start fitting stuff in, and I gotta make sure I'm rationing my weekend.
It's you have to try to figure out what you're going to do. I'm just now finalizing my plans, but yeah, that's definitely going to be something to see. That's sub action.
Solid match. We have kind of and speaking of just selling tickets in general, Beyond announced this show with no matches announced, and they've done this a couple of times where they just announced when they did it for Secret Show a couple years back in Boston over at Faneuil Hall. They just announced, hey, we're doing a show on this date. No match announced. They sell the show out. This show sold out in I think 3 days.
That is incredibly impressive.
Yeah,
sight unseen. Just no knowledge of the card to sell that show out. That's huge.
Yeah, and I think Beyond's one of maybe 2 or 3 promotions in this country that could probably get away with doing that.
Oh yes. Well, that goes to that loyalty of the crowd. That is a loyal crowd.
It is.
And that that is the crowd you want to have because you could announce a show, no card. GCW can do the same. They basically they basically do that for every show. I'm saying that publicly because I love them, but there's only a handful of promotions that could possibly get away with that. And I don't think a lot of them that I love are at that level yet, but Beyond definitely is.
Yeah, I think, Beyond GCW, I would say Action's getting close. Action's getting to that place where they may be able to just say, hey, we're doing a show in July we're not announcing anything.
Well, yeah, because you with Matt and that crew, with the crew that they have, and plus you've got loyals and you've got curious people that want to travel out. The names that they bring in for action, yeah, that's gonna sell some tickets without knowing exactly what matches are going on.
Yeah. And what was kind of I want to say this whole thing was like a triple main event. That's how I felt these matches were, because
I agree.
you had Shook Crew versus Bear Country. Again, another
Yeah.
tag team match. I love tag team wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Bryce and Bobby are in great shape. Bear Country have been just kicking ass and taking names on AEW Dark lately.
I agree. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, I'm honestly just waiting to hear that they've been signed. I feel like give them they have a big match on Dynamite next week against Jurassic Express, and I think I think is the opportunity match. That is, go out, show AEW in the world what you got. That's what I think that match. I feel that. I know they pre-tape them and probably speaking after effect, but I hope that's the match that afterwards we get. Maybe the next week we get, oh, we've signed Bear Country.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a turning point match for them. And I know they're going to get out there and they're going to, do work. But I'm hoping enough eyes, or the right eyes, notice and put them where they should be.
I mean, yeah, because I want to see them just bust up as many people as they can get their hands on. But Shook Crew's great. Bryce and Bobby are amazing, and Bobby Jr., of course. We want to leave out Bobby Jr.
I love Bobby Jr. He's my favorite member of the Shook Crew, but
Bobby Jr.
I've let Bobby know that many times, and I think he agrees, but he'll never, say that.
Bryce is super athletic. Again, he used quarantine to kind of bulk up a little bit. He definitely looks a lot bigger than when I saw him over the summer.
Yes. And, once again, I don't know what y'all are doing up there with your gyms or anything like that, because I thought they were all closed. Maybe y'all just have these awesome home gyms, but these guys are getting big. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, a lot of folks are doing, when I spoke with Max over the summer, he talked to me about he was able to get a full weight set like 2 weeks before everything kind of shut down. Because he was looking to set something up at home anyway. So he was able to get some stuff like a week or two before, just before everything kind of vanished.
It's almost like the Shook Crew could open their own gym now. That's how they look.
So I'm guessing they might have all either been sharing or just, and there's the Northeast is, if you're looking to get shit done, you can get some shit done up here. I'm not saying gyms were closed, but people know people.
Y'all can shovel snow.
Yep, we can shovel snow. That's the cardio. That's the cardio and the core strength. That's how I keep my cardio up.
That's how y'all keep in shape up there. That's why the northern people live longer. They have to shovel all that snow anyway.
I got a good sized driveway. It snows 8 inches. I'll go out there with like a beer or something and just shovel, and I'm good.
That to me, that to me is the defining, the difference between up north and out south, or down south. If you can, shovel snow or not. Yeah, down here we're not doing that.
shovel snow, rake leaves. It's all core work and arms and shoulders.
We're not doing that. We're not in that kind of shape.
Yeah. So when you come up, it has to be summer. Don't come up here in like February, because
oh no, because I think I'll be the hand of the shovel and ask to pitch in.
No, you're a guest. We wouldn't ask you to do that.
If I stay longer than a week, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Longer than a week, you got to start pulling your weight. That's how.
Yeah.
That's the rules. That's the rules.
Understood.
So we had that, and that was entertaining. Bear Country just throwing them around. Bryce.
It was a good to see them back kind of match. Local boys done good.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was good, but it was also good to see the Shook Crew kind of in their new, look.
Yeah.
As well.
And it's a testament, to really go a little deep cut. Creative Pro down in Long Island. I mean, all 4 guys are out of Creative Pro. That school run by Pat Buck and Brian Myers. The alumni of that school, starting MJF, Chris Statlander, Max Caster, the Shook Crew, BSK's out of that school. Alex Silver, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Mark Sterling, all coming out of that school. Aaron Rourke,
and that's a huge list of your 2021, 2022 up and comers.
Yeah. Well, like him or not, MJF is one of the biggest things going right now. And
oh yes,
cool. He's 20,
absolutely.
he's not even 25 yet. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the list that you just called out, I can't think of anybody that's out of their 20s on that list.
I don't think, not that I
They're
can.
all, these are all
young.
young, and they've all got, this bright future ahead. So Creative Pros, they're doing something.
One of the preeminent schools in the country right now.
Yeah.
Next match where I think Max Caster taking his life in his own hands. The man has a contract going up against you are contracted to AEW. I mean, I appreciate seeing him. Again, he was our first guest. I love talking to Max. Smart guy, best wrestler alive. You want to step in there against Slade and run your mouth.
That, I mean, to put your position at risk. I mean, you got this whole AEW future ahead of you, and you want to end your I don't want to say end your career, end your life in the White Eagle. I mean, it's a great place. Don't get me wrong, but I think Max could do, you could do a little bit more than try to kill yourself up against Slade like you tried to last night.
You know what? Talk them into bringing Slade down to AEW and have this match down there.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if the world's ready for Slade yet.
I know. No, I think we got to kind of ease the world into Slade to introduce what we saw that match, which I thought was the main event. Honestly, I forgot we even had an 11th match after that. But yeah, that to me was I have never seen Max Caster have that kind of a match before.
No, I hadn't either. I mean, he's talked about it when I spoke with him. He said he wants to have the kind of match where he walks out of the back and he has to like have ice up to his neck. When he came out, he had an ice bag up to his face. He wanted it.
Surpassed his goal.
Yeah, Max, you tick that one off.
He surpassed his goal. Leave it to Max Caster to overachieve, even when it comes to.
I mean, Slade just and for folks who maybe aren't aware, Slade has been at Beyond shows. I'm not blowing up his spot. Slade has been around. You may have just not seen him on Uncharted territory, but he's been around. He's been around different promotions here in New England. Like, people have been aware of who Slade is. Mm-hmm. So when he showed up at Uncharted territory, people knew what Aaron Rourke was in for. He just walks out and there's a violence, there's an air about him that it's just like, I'm gonna go over here because I don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that guy. I'm impressed with Slade just because he has that presence with him, and he can back it up, like his match with Matthew Justice.
Oh God,
on Signature Series. And to have that match air the same night as this match with Max Caster, if that doesn't convince you of who Slade is, I mean, go back and watch it again, which I'm going to do anyway. Yeah, I'm pretty well convinced of who Slade is, and I'm looking to see over the next, this next show in May and over the summer, how that's going to go with Slade.
I mean, anyone who can hang with Matthew Justice on principle is enough, but the fact that Slade just like this, like, I've watched a lot of like death matches, hardcore, like they're kind of my thing, but not really. But the stuff that they were doing in this match, like, folks, find this on IWTV, watch Signature Series match. Like, I was a little uncomfortable
that was. I mean, even, as somebody who's watched so much GCW and seen Matthew Justice have those kind of matches, this was a very GCW level match. This was very brutal.
Yeah, it's just, whew.
But it was great, though.
Yes, Slade is something else. And just, if you're not convinced, I don't know what's going to convince you.
Oh, yeah. To have those two matches in one night, that will show you who Slade is. So, I mean, I know the question was asked who the breakout star was, and you had a few names come out. I think in the long run, we are going to see Slade up there with names like Chris Dickinson and like Nick Gage and so many other, White Eagle legends, that he's been in the background all this time.
Yeah.
And it's time to step forward.
And the main event, the final match of the evening, which I had zero clue. I thought Max versus Slade was the main event. I thought that was it.
I did too.
And then Rich comes out and says time for the main event. I'm like, okay. And then I hear Yuta's music. I'm like, all right, Yuta, awesome. He's weird. Yuta's he's doing him now. He's got his beard. After Masked Singer, he turned and beat up Josh Bishop and went Dark Yuta, which is fine. But to then have the Pan-African Diaspora World Championship, the world champion as far as this show is concerned.
How great was that to have Trish walk out and the White Eagle for Beyond? That to me was very, very awesome.
I mean, again, I figured, I don't know if I would see the surreal. I didn't think I'd get a chance to see Trish Adora wrestle live anywhere this year, but hello, awesome. I mean, she's just, and the crowd responded to her. People knew who she was.
Yeah,
great.
I thought that was wonderful. And this match, Trish Adora had her match against Tony Deppen. Yeah. And then I believe it was Yuta that I said, we're looking for somebody else that Trish Adora could go up against then. Yuta was just one of those names that I just threw out there. Yep. So to see this, I'm like, oh, the gods were listening.
They were.
And to see this match happen in the main event and to have this to me was, Trish Adora. I know that she had her maid match with the Iron match, but this was her welcome to the White Eagle. She, got in there. Yuta showed off his new side, but Trish Adora was welcomed and accepted by that White Eagle crew. And that to me, that was great to me because that's opening another new door in another new area.
And there's plenty of folks that Trish Adora can come and get a ring with. And folks, let me tell you, I've seen it on TV and seeing it live. Lariat Tubman will take your damn head off.
Oh my God.
That thing hits, the sound it makes. And I was sitting I was kind of second row, kind of near. I wasn't ringside, but I was when that lariat hits, done. That's that Larry Tubman's rated E for everybody. Anyone can catch that thing.
And she is just so devastating with it. And it takes, let me say this, it takes the kind of Yuta that we're seeing now to defeat Trish Adora. Yeah. I don't think the Yuta that I saw 2 years ago could have done what we saw last night. Trish Adora would have ran right over him.
That's
so it takes Yuta to go to this to actually win.
Rocking the beard, he's got time in Ring of Honor under his belt. Yeah, it's a new Yuta who is kind of again stepping forward in 2021 and establishing Beyond as a place that we folks who have watched Beyond, we've known Wheeler Yuta, and he comes out and he's got the jacket and the mask, and he's a good technical wrestler, and he had this thing with Chuck O'Neal. And I feel like maybe that thing with Chuck O'Neal and a couple other things kind of just built and built and built and built.
Yeah.
And then he just hit a point where he's like, F it. I'm just going to start disassembling people.
Yeah. And I think it works for him. Quite honestly, in this new landscape where everybody's so improved, everybody's had time to get their body in shape, improve their ring work on their character, you have to do a 180 on people. You have to go completely left field to throw people off their game because everybody's coming back looking so great. Everybody's coming back doing so great. You have to do something to top that. Yeah. And that's what Yuta's doing. Because quite honestly, I wouldn't have expected this from him when I, was first started, or actually when season 2 of Uncharted Territory ended, I would not have expected to see the Yuta that we're seeing right now.
Yeah. And that was just a year and a half ago.
Exactly. He had to do. He wanted to, get to some place where he could be seen more than all these other people who are doing the same thing, doing their best to be seen, and stepping ahead like this, doing those submissions that Yuta did.
He kind of just
that's going to get you seen.
Yeah, he grabbed Trish and kind of bent her over, kind of grabbed her and kind of bent her forwards. It was, I don't know what the name of it is, but it hurt and Trish had a tap.
It was called pain.
Wow.
That was all I could say. It was called pain. It's the only
Um,
thing you can think of when it's happening.
yeah, and he's talking that he's next in line for the Independent Wrestling Championship, currently held by Lee Moriarty. Lee's got a weekend in front of him coming up, and
Yep.
you just talking like he wants whoever's champion when we get to May back
Yeah.
at the White Eagle. He expects the Independent Wrestling Championship to be there and for him to get a
Oh,
shot.
and if it is Lee, I'm telling you that, I know we've seen some amazing match of the year candidates so far. It's only April. And I know we got a weekend ahead of us, or a whole week ahead of us, really, that we'll have some as well. But whoever ends up against Yuta after Mania weekend, whenever in May, that's going to be one to put on your match of the year list.
Yeah, I mean, he's faced Lee before, and I believe Yuta got the win, but that was some
Yes.
time ago when before they're both kind of fully developed.
Right.
I know Lee's got at least 2 defenses coming in the weekend. I just can't remember who they are against. I know he's got at least 2. I don't know if those are still in place, but I know he's got at least 2. He's got one at the spring break show, and I think there's one the following day.
I believe you're right. Yeah, I just can't not add the schedule between both collective and the showcase.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like, now that Lee's got this title, there's a lot of folks circulating. Yuta saying he's the number 1 contender. I believe Logan Easton LaRue is saying he's owed a shot.
Yeah.
There's a couple different. I think there's a couple other folks I can think of who probably should be in line for that title. I mean, Lee says he wants to be a fighting champion, so I'm all for that.
I agree.
It was a solid show. It was great to kind of be back, a little different than what we've seen on TV, but great to be back in the White Eagle among kind of folks I knew. It was a long evening. I didn't get home till close to 2 a.m, but it was so worth it.
Oh yeah.
It's nice that Beyond is back. I'll be at the May show. Watching at home, again, you've just been with Beyond 2019. It was just like, it felt, and what was that? I saw someone that was it was like a top 5 or top 10 trend on Twitter.
Yeah. Throughout the night, they would come through and update, and I think it got up to 6 top 10 trends in the US.
And last night's Thursday, you got Law and Order, where like Stabler's
that's a big TV night. And yeah, you had a big episode of Law and Order, and I'm sitting here thinking this, okay, say what you will about independent wrestling, everybody loves to be negative, things like that, but numbers speak for themselves. If you got this many people talking about a show and it's trending in the US,
top 10,
things can't be all that bad. So and leave it to Beyond to kind of be the one to kind of take people by the hand and kind of guide them and say, it's okay, don't panic, we're going to be fine. But shows like this, and shows like I believe they're going to have in May, that's what we need for indie wrestling. Those shows that are proof positive that, things are going to be okay. The regeneration will take place, and we will have new stars.
We got a nice handful last night between the debuts of Erica Lee and Alec Price, the folks who've been at Beyond, like Solo Willow, new folks like Aaron Rourke, who are reintroducing themselves to the Beyond audience. It's just, Chris Dickinson is the vet, the guy who's kind of the leader. It's going to be, and we're happy to have everyone back except for Cam.
Yeah, Cam could have stayed. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was just like in the attic of the White Eagle, and they just her out. That's the only explanation I can.
He's been. He's the guy that everyone's going to the party and no one tells him, and then he hears, oh, there's a party, where is it? And then he just kind of follows.
And he just shows up, and we're just like, oh hell, here he is. Cam.
Whatever. Tiff, it's been great to catch up.
Oh yes, always.
Where can folks find you online and your great reviews? Folks, if you can track down Tiffany's reviews, they're this great stream of consciousness.
Thank you.
That are unlike any other sort of review that you will read of a wrestling show.
I try to keep them like that, if you want to check out my work, I'm at BumWineBob.com, and I'm also at ProWrestlingPost.com. Right now I'm on vacation because of WrestleMania next week, which you can also find me. I'll be kind of floating back and forth in Tampa between next Wednesday and the until like the Monday or Tuesday after, I guess, whenever I decide to go back home. But yeah, I'll be at the collective. I'll be at the showcase. Definitely come and say hi, properly social distance, greeting and love. We'll all be happy and healthy. But can't wait to see everybody. Can't wait to write about it all when I get home.
Yep, folks, wear your mask.
Yes, mask up.
Over your nose, please. If it doesn't fit right, find one that does. Again, great to see you. We're gonna get you up here at some point.
Yes, definitely this summer. Yeah, y'all
Summer,
will see this summer.
summer or fall, whenever shows, depending on what
Mhm.
Beyond announces. You'll probably be able to find somewhere closer to the White Eagle, but Connecticut's it's an hour and change ride. I know down where you live, you're used to doing like a 4-hour drive.
Oh yeah, that's kind of a short drive to me now. 4 hours is like a short trip now.
Yep. Folks, you can find me on Twitter at Matt P. Douglas. We'll probably get this up this evening and tag Beyond. It was a great show. Beyond, I've never not had a great time at a Beyond show. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, these are great shows to go to. And we'll see Tip this weekend. I am not going to Tampa because
Hey, it's all good. I will likely, this summer, if they announce something, I won't be able to go to the show in May just because we've got so much down south going on. But this summer, I'm going to set some time aside definitely because I just have to get up there. And I just feel like between now and maybe, I guess, in July or August, we will have Uncharted Territory Season 3. I think that's just going to be announced. So I want to be there for at least one episode of that.
We'll get you up here. We'll get you some good pizza and some Dunkin'.
Yes,
a good time.
Absolutely.
Later, folks.